Welcome to The Gag Is podcast with me, your host, Charlie Shantae, where I share the roller coaster of my life, the highs, the lows, and everything in between. After becoming a teen mom at 14 and a widow by the age of 21, it's a journey filled with tears and laughter, reminding you that even in the toughest moments, there's hope. The gag is, life may be unpredictable, but it's always worth living.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of The Gag Is Pod. I am your girl, Charlie Shantae. Thank you for joining me. Happy New Year to you. Welcome to 2025. That's crazy to say, like 2025. Like, how did we get here? I feel like we just cruising through, just but Happy New Year. I hope you all had an amazing New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. Hope you were doing something that you wanted to, but when you get around my age, you start going to sleep and stuff. So, were you up for New Year's? But we're going to jump into all of that. So go ahead and grab your drink, grab your snack, whatever it is you need to grab, go ahead and grab that so we can jump right on in. And while you're grabbing your drink and your snack or whatever you have, if you have not already, please make sure you are following us at TheGagIsPod on Instagram and YouTube. You're more than welcome to follow my personal page as well, smartfit_Okie on Instagram as well. Make sure that you have downloaded this episode to listen to and click that little notification in the right-hand corner. That way, anytime a new episode come out, it can already be on your phone. It come out at 5 a.m. on Fridays, so you can just listen to that thing on the way to work. You can listen to it if you're getting off from work, if you work at night, or if you're working out in the morning. So, 2025. Wow. How did we get here? Like, it's crazy. And so it's 2025 and, it's all about that, everybody on that new year, new me, whatever. I want to kind of freestyle dive into that today. Like, it's the new year. So, it's like everybody's like, oh, at the beginning of the year, it's going to be a new year, new me, so watch out everything that I was falling for back then or everything that I was doing back then. I ain't finna fall for that this year. So miss me with that. Whoop de whoop de woo. But like, we getting older now. So at what point does a new year, a new me not apply anymore? I feel like you can keep the same slogan like new year, new me, but instead of a new year, new me, how about new year, improved me? Because if you're saying new year, new me, that means you're purposely doing something to become somebody who you're not. So if we continue to do that for year after year after year, I feel like you're becoming somebody that you don't even know anymore because you're like new year, new me. So if you've been doing that for 10 years, granted, you're not the same person you were 10 years ago, but you're also still not the person you want to be. Because we can only do this for so many years. And I realized that I think a couple of years ago, I sat down and I was like, let me deep dive into this new year, new me. And I'm like, well, I don't like new year, new me because that means I'm going to intentionally take the time to be and act a certain way. And it's a certain way that I am not. There's ways that I can better myself and still be the same me, be authentic, just keeping with who I am. But there are areas in my life that I can improve in. So I want to kind of talk about that today. Just improving in areas instead of doing a whole flip and turning into somebody that you're not. And I think throughout this month, I think it'll be very helpful if I have some guests on the show who talk about fitness. We'll talk about some finance and some other things like that so that we can genuinely be ourselves, but be a more improved version of ourselves without losing ourselves, if that makes sense to you. So one of the things that I did when I was trying to realize like, okay, not a new year, new me, is we always say we want to get into fitness. everybody's like, I'm going to start going to the gym before work or when I get off from work. I'm not going to eat this anymore. I'm not going to eat that anymore. And one thing I realized that we set forth these goals every year, and that's all we do. We just set them. We don't have a plan of action. We haven't done any research or how we can obtain what it is we're doing or anything like that. So we're just like, yep, I'm gonna go to the gym, 7 days a week, be up in that thing because summer coming, body finna be snatched. That's fine and well, but let's think about it. So, okay, it's January and let's see, summer roll around about May. We'll say like Memorial Day is like the unofficial start to summer. So you telling me for the next 5 months, you finna be in the gym 7 days a week. So that's 5 months. That's what? How many weeks? That's 20 weeks. So you telling me you finna be in the gym for like 100 days, over 100 days, like consecutive, like no breaks, nothing to let your body relax or nothing. That's not realistic. We have to set realistic goals. And one of the things that I did was I got with my trainer and she was like, that's fine. You can say that you can go to the gym every day for 7 days straight and, knock it out. But she was like, I don't want to hear it when you get burnt out. And I was like, what? Like, why would you say that? Like, I'm not going to get burnt out. You have to start with something attainable. Start with something that you can stick to. If you ain't been to the gym in years, don't say you're going to go 7 days a week because that's not realistic. You're going to get burnt out. 2 days a week, good. And then anything after that is extra, is bonus, good for you. But two, that's very attainable. That's seven. There's 7 days in a week. You can go two. You can go 2 back-to-back days. You can go 2 every other days. You can go just on the weekends. You can do whatever. But you've started and you've done 2 days. And then say after a month, you're like, okay, I got this down pat. Add another day and just add and build like that. Because think about it, when you go buy a house, you don't go and say, okay, I want this house right here. And they just put the house down and then it's just there. You have to build on it. And so when you're talking about reinventing yourself and with your goals and dreams, you have to build on it. It's just not, you're just not going to wake up and be like, okay, this is it. And then boom. So it's the same thing with your fitness. You're not just going to go to the gym one day and be like, boom, like I'm fit, like I'm snatched, like, watch out, beach. That's not going to happen. So you have to be very mindful and very intentional about what it is, especially with one of your fitness goals. And guess what? Going to the gym is just not going to do it. You got to incorporate your eating as well. You can't sit there and go to the gym and then go to Culver's and get you a double mushroom and Swiss with some fries and a Coke and be like, well, I be going to the gym and I don't know why I ain't losing no weight. And then everybody be like, I'm just going to sit here and eat these salads. Well, you're not going, and then after 6 days, you burnt out on salad because you ain't doing nothing but eating water. But like I said, I'm going to have a couple trainers and one who specializes in nutrition as well. I'm going to try to get her on the show so that she can actually better explain to you, about your eating and stuff like that. And like I said, she's my trainer. She's been my trainer for almost 10 years now, like train like off and on, but I still get with her because there are still times where I lag. Like I don't just like, oh, I've reached my goals several times, but then, I had those times where I backslide a little bit and she like, Charlotte, let's kind of get back on track. And so like, instead of just being a trainer, she's become a friend, a close friend, as well. And she didn't got your girl together. She gonna have to get me back together because I done slid just a little bit. But when it comes to your fitness or whatever, just make sure that you're doing something that's obtainable. I will say this. Call me a hater, call me whatever. Don't be looking at social media for inspiration because 9 times out of 10, them people that you're looking at for inspiration didn't had their body did. And the way that their body look, you're not finna obtain that in the gym. I don't care how hard you try and what you don't eat. Your body not finna look like that. Your body is not fin to look like that. And I know eating is one of my biggest things. But when I sit down and I hone in on like eating and like cooking my food and stuff like that, I am good. So like over the past like 6 months, we've had a change in our schedule because New Face is in swim now, right? So with him in swim, we're constantly going. And since we're constantly going, then we I don't get to cook and I'm not meal prepping. Like I used to meal prep, cook all the food or whatever. And so since we're going, now it's to the point where I'm just eating out 2-3 times a week, and when I do cook, it's not stuff that's necessarily healthy. So I gotta rein that in a little bit. That's like one of my big things. I don't have a problem with working out per se. That just I walk every day. I do want to get back to lifting weights. Like I really miss lifting weights. But that comes with due time. I just, took on something new and, I just got to figure out how it works. In addition to that, so I just got to get back on track with that. And I love to cook and I can cook like really good. I thought about going back plant-based like / vegan a little bit. I don't know yet. I gotta see, like what this next schedule is going to look like in order for me to do that. One of the other areas that I focus on when I say, a new year, improve me is I always work on personal goals. And since I have the pod, now I have personal goals. I have business goals because the pod is a business. So I have personal goals. I have business goals. I have family goals. So for my personal goals, I try to make sure I'm like, okay, what is it that I take a look at what I did last year? I'm like, okay, I did that last year. I want to continue doing that, or no, like there's some areas of improvement. And I know my biggest thing, because it's starting between my personal and the business that's starting to like run together, which is it's not a bad thing, but it's not a good thing either, is time management. Because there's a lot of business things that I have to take care of, but stuff in my personal life is kind of rolling over to and it's preventing me a little bit from from putting the time into my pod, into my business that I need. And getting an assistant this year, so that's going to help just a little bit. But between personal and business, I definitely have to work on my time management. When I first started off with the pod, I was so laser focused in, I had reduced my social media time. I had reduced my TV watching time, but now like I've fallen back into my old ways and I'm like, well, how can you succeed as a business person if you're not willing to let go of your comforts and enjoyments for just a little bit, not all the way together, not all the way like 0% enjoyment, but can we scale it back just a little bit so that you can hit your deadlines and hit your benchmarks and everything that you set out for yourself? Because there's only so many times that you can roll something over. And, I just have like little partnerships now. And it's kind of like, if I can't take time and manage my little partnerships, how can I manage bigger partnerships? So there's some things. So there's some things in my personal life I'm going to have to scale back on so that I can dedicate time to the business. But once I get those, I feel like once I get those things taken care of and my time management better, it'll give me back the time that I've been looking for in my personal life. So like I've said previously, sometimes you got to get uncomfortable to get comfortable. And so now, it's football season. If you know me, we're coming up on the end of football season. If you know me, you know that I love football. And so, Saturdays and Sundays and Thursday nights, like I'm glued to the TV. When honestly, this is time that although I'm glued to the TV, this is time where I can be editing, I can be creating my notes and different stuff like that, but not me. I am just honed in on that TV, looking at my sports. But it's like, okay, you can multitask, ma'am. Like you sitting on the couch, you can get your laptop, you can multitask. If not, they got talk to text. So there's different things, that I gotta hone in on in my personal life so that I can ensure that, my business is thriving and things like that. You know, Nick, she my manager. She keep me together, and she be like, you got to take care of this. You got to take care of this. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like I still, I got like my little vision board that I did and whatever, so I got to really take a look at that and hone in it. Cause I forgot where I seen it or where I heard it or read it at, but it's easier to accomplish things once they're written down and once you can sit there and you can look at them daily or wherever you put them, because you're going to be like, okay, like, yeah, that, because like you can keep it up here all day, every day. But if you have it wrote down and you looking at it and you can see, you're like, okay, cool. Like I need to get on this. It's just not a thought in my head, but I've written it down, which means that I need to take time and put it in there. So yeah, so I would say, make sure you're taking time and, personalizing and critiquing things, but also giving yourself grace. You know what you need to do, you know how you need to do it, just do it. Like I wouldn't sit here and say something to y'all that I wouldn't do. I know what I need to do. And so, I mean, instead of being grumpy about it, like on Saturday mornings, I would love to lay in bed, every Saturday, but I know every Saturday I can't lay in the bed. I need to take care of business stuff, like sleep in a little bit, take care of business stuff, and then go about your day. I'm not saying deprive yourself of everything, because somebody gonna probably be like, well, you talking about something, just cut away. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying if you took 30 minutes, let's say you took 30 minutes away from watching TV to focus on your personal development, you spend more time on that scrolling on social media. So if you took that 30 minutes and roll it into whatever it is you're trying to pursue or something like that, just think all those 30 minutes that you add up is going to eventually go to 45 minutes, an hour. You're going to eventually have that time, and then you're not going to really miss what it was that you was spending that other 30, 45 minutes, hour. You're not going to miss that, because you're going to be like, wow, I'm getting so much further because like I just took just a little bit of time away from a comfort. But guess what? I'm achieving this, but I still got the comfort. That's just a simple way of how I would look at it. I also, in my business, like this year, like some of my goals are I want to collaborate with more people. And I think like last year I was just a little scared to like reach out and, be like, hey, would you like to be a guest? I feel like you bring a lot of, you could bring something good to my show. I've just tried like different partnerships, like, hey, I would love to work with your brand. I've just been a little scared. And this year I would like to branch out, and I would like to come up out of my shell and kind of foster some new relationships, some new partnerships, because if you know me, you know that I ain't shy. And you know that I can walk in a room and make friends with anybody, and hold a conversation with anybody. So I think that this year, I think I'm going to focus more on that. That'll be good for me. But like I said, I got to let go of a little bit of those comforts so that I can focus more on creating these partnerships and reaching out and branching out and things like that. When it comes to my family, which is also part of my personal life, it's kind of hard because I have kids and they're 10 years apart. So they live two different lives in essence, so I like to do family stuff, but in the same time that I like to do family stuff, they both don't like the same thing. And then it's like I'm hanging out with one kid and it's like, oh, okay, cool, we're having fun. Then I'm hanging out with the other kid. Oh, it's cool, we're having fun. But it's like I like to do stuff when I have them together. And it doesn't always work out like that because child is older, and then New Face is younger, and New Face's time he's a swimmer, he's a competitive swimmer, so a lot of his time go like that. So me and him inadvertently end up spending time together on the weekends because we're always traveling to a swim meet or something like that. And then man Chisel, he has his Marco Polo, he has his own life because he's older, so he's out with his friends and he's working and stuff like that. So, but I just be wanting, you know, them together. Like last year we were able to take a family vacation and it was like so super fun, and I think we have another one planned for this year. I'm not sure. It's very dependent on a couple things, but I would love to go on another vacation with them, so I'm probably have to find some time and just be like, okay, you know what? Like this weekend is for the boys. Like I need to spend time with them. Like I'm going to clear my schedule and we're going to do something where we're going to go to Universal, we'll go to Disney, or we'll find something to do. We'll have a go to Atlanta, something like that, just depending on the time of the year it is and what we got going on and how much time we have allotted. We'll find something to do. We'll always find something to do and have a good time with it. Even if it's one thing we did talk about doing that we did during COVID is we took a road trip. We rented a car and we took a 9-state road trip, and just packed up the car and just had a good grand old time. Went through 9 states, visited cities we'd never been to before. And it was just a grand time. So I think donate more, have more family time. We used to have a game night on Friday nights, and I think that's something that I definitely would like to bring back, because we had such a good time. We have so many games, and I just want to, I just want to get back to like that little stuff, but it also brings you back to the personal stuff. If I let go of some of those little comforts, then I have time to put time into my other buckets, my business bucket, my family bucket, and my last bucket, like my friendship bucket, that bucket it has been, I don't even know. I feel like I cut some people off last year, but I feel like it's some more people that's going to end up getting cut off this year. We always say at the beginning of the year, I'm gonna cut people off. I ain't going to do this. I ain't going to do that. Okay, that's fine. That's cool. But when I'm doing that, I'm always mindful, because I'm not going to be like, oh, I can't fuck with you no more. I'm not finna do that. It's more of a, where I am in life right now, I don't feel it's appropriate for you to go there with me. Where I'm at and where you're at are two separate places. And, I just don't think that where I'm going is somewhere that you're going to be comfortable going with me. So like we still cool, but we got to be cool from a distance. Like when you still call me, still text me, we can still call, chit chat, catch up and whatever like that. But in the same token, just where I'm going, you can't bring everybody with you. So the friendships and the relationships that I have, I'm going to ensure that I continue to, as long as they're pouring into me, I'm going to pour into them, because I don't pour into friendships that serve me. Like if I'm constantly pouring into you, but you're not pouring back into me, or, when I make moves, you constantly have something to say about it, nothing good, and it's always negative, then that's just not, I feel like where I'm going, that energy is not, I can't take that energy with me. And, it's never personal. It's just, I just know where I'm going. It's just like when you have that, it's just like when you have that string on the jacket, like if you pull it, then, it could unravel whatever the garment is, and then it's ruined, versus if you were to take a pair of scissors and you would just cut it, then you're good to go. You have a clean, you save the garment. Everything is good to go. Now, I wanted, one of the personal things I want to, I gotta give myself so much more grace. One thing that I've always had an issue with is, accepting compliments, and, everybody's like, you're so beautiful, you have amazing skin and all of this. And I'm always like, you think so? I'm always hard, on myself. And I think this year I need to really sit down and hone in on that and figure out why I don't allow myself to accept compliments and different things like that. That's one thing that I need to sit down and work on and understand where that comes from. I think I have a feeling I know where it comes from, but I'm going to sit in and hone and figure out how I can heal from that. Because I'm a very positive person, and I know I'm a very beautiful person. I just need to understand how I accept those and, believe it for myself, and not just when someone else tells me. All right. So we have come to the end of the show. I gotta get my You Can't Make These Up. I gotta get those together because I've been so focused on bringing such a positive message from week to week that I think I've kind of let go of the aspect of you can't make this up. However, you can't make this up is one of the aspects of the show. And it's kind of like we talk about seriousness and then we have a little lighthearted kiki at the end. And so I'm going to have to start getting those back together. Because you guys tell me all the time, like, man, that you can't make this up. Like, that was crazy. And I'm like, yeah, I know. So, we're going to get back to that. But one thing I'm going to always have for y'all is that song lyric of the week. And I believe this was a song lyric of the week last year. No. Let me see. Let me pull out my trusty, dusty phone and view it. We and I think this is just, here we go. My song lyric of the week for this week, it's gonna be a repeat one, but you just have those songs that just uplift you, and it kind of becomes a soundtrack of your life, and there's nothing wrong with that. So my song lyric of the week for this first week in January of 2025 is DJ Khaled, God Did. All right, now foot down to the business. If you have not already, like I mentioned in the beginning of the show, if you're not following us already, please follow us on TheGagIsPod on Instagram and YouTube. You're more than welcome to follow my personal page at smartfit_Okie on Instagram as well. If you want to do any collaborations or anything like that, have an item or a book you want me to read or anything like that, any kind of way you feel like you can collaborate with the show, or you can add value to your show. If you feel like you have something to add or you would like to be a guest, please reach out at TheGagIsPod@gmail.com, and myself or my assistant will get back to you. Until next week, I am your girl, Charlie Shante. This is The Gag Is Pod. Bye, guys.
Thank you for tuning into The Gag Is podcast. I hope you're enjoying my journey as much as I am enjoying sharing it with you. Before we wrap up, I have a small request. If you found inspiration in my stories or my guest stories, don't forget to share this podcast with your friends and family. Together, we can spread the message of resilience and hope. And if you have a moment, please take a second to rate and review the show on your podcast app. 5 stars, please. Your feedback helps me reach even more listeners who might need a dose of encouragement. Remember, the gag is, life may be unpredictable, but it's always worth living. So until next week, bye guys.